Hello guys, welcome to a new video. In this video we're gonna review Canon EOS RP mirrorless camera guys, and this camera is the lightest full frame camera that we have in the market right now, and it is also the cheapest mirrorless full frame camera coming from Canon. We do have some cheaper full frame camera like the Sony A7 and the A7 II, but those two are not having that great autofocus that this Canon camera have. This camera have a dual pixel autofocus and it can shoot 4K. So we're gonna try to find out whether this camera is still a good buy for you in 2022 or not. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, please subscribe to the channel and press the bell icon. Let's begin the video guys. So as you already know, this camera came out in 2019. It's almost 3-year old and this is the smallest camera coming from Canon. And in terms of price, this costs around 1000 US dollar for the body only. And if you go for some lenses options, like the cheapest lens that is available is a 50mm RF lens, which is around it is around $280 or something. So your kit would be around $1300. And guys, this price range for such a nice camera is really good. So let me talk about the technical specification for this camera. So this has a 26 megapixel sensor and the ISO range is from 100 to 40,000, which can be expanded up to 100,000, and it has like 4779 autofocus point, and the autofocus is really very awesome. In terms of video specification, this camera can shoot full HD 60 frame per second. It can also shoot 4K, but there is a 1.7 times crop factor in the 4K, and the dual pixel autofocus doesn't work in the 4K. But if you are looking for a camera that can shoot full HD video, this is a great camera, because this camera also have a flip out screen. If you compare this with Canon EOS R, that camera doesn't have a flip out screen. This is a very nice touch screen, 3-inch in display, and 1 million dots resolution it has. This camera also have headphone jack and also microphone input jack, so it is a very good camera. If you want to make cinematic videos, you can attach an external microphone, you can connect headphones to monitor the sound, you can put this camera in some kind of a camera rig or a gimbal and make really very professional videos from this. You can do paid professional video work using this camera. It is really very good. The low light performance is excellent on this camera. One really nice feature that this camera has that even EOS R doesn't have, that is focus stacking. So you can stack by shifting the focus like multiple pictures, and then later on you can combine them to get a very sharp focus guys. In terms of the weight, this is around 480 gram. It is very light. The grip is pretty good and the ergonomics are really good. It is very easy to use this camera with just one hand. It feels pretty good. It is a weather sealed body and it does feature exposure bracketing as well, so you can take HDR image. In terms of dynamic range, this camera has a lower dynamic range. It has only 11.9 dynamic range, so it is not a best camera when it comes for landscape photography. In terms of frame per second, this can shoot 5 frames per second, so that is also not that great about this camera, because you need a faster frame per second if you want to do some action photography, sports photography. So this camera is okay for portrait photography, wedding photography, but not that good for sports or wildlife or fast action subject photography. The fastest shutter speed that is available on this camera is 1/4000 of a second. So comparing this with EOS R, that has slightly higher, it has 1/8000 of a second. But guys, this camera has one feature that is better than EOS R. This has eye tracking autofocus. So the autofocus works so nice both in the photos and video. It can track your face, it can track your eyes and keep it in focus. So your job as a photographer become really easy. When you are making videos for YouTube, you can see yourself in the frame and it will automatically pick your eye and keep your face in focus. Works like awesome. The battery life is one bad part about this camera. So the battery life lasts only around like 250 shots if you are doing images, and if you are doing a video, maybe 1 hour, slightly more than 1 hour. So you should carry like at least 2 batteries. Even I am having like 2 batteries, so when one battery runs out of power, you can swap the new battery. Also, one limitation when it comes to video is that it can record only 30 minutes at a time. So after 30 minutes the video would stop, so you have to record again to start the recording. So if you have to shoot continuously for 1 hour, so after 30 minutes you have to again start the recording. So that is one downside in this camera. We do have really good connectivity options in this camera. It has Wi-Fi, it has Bluetooth as well. It is very easy to connect with the Canon app, and then from the app you can download the photos. You can control your camera remotely as well, guys. So this camera doesn't have a flash on the camera, so you have to use an external flash. Besides that, the body is weather sealed and it's pretty good, guys. You can do time-lapse video on this camera, guys. Besides that, in the video it has an anti-flicker mode as well, so it will stop the flickering effect that you have in your movie. You can also use UHS 2 card, which are like ultra fast, and that will help you when you are recording 4K videos. They would be really much faster compared to like the UHS 1 card. You can also use this camera as a webcam by connecting this with your laptop. You can do online streaming. If you are having like a YouTube live session, you can use this camera, or if you want to do like any office meeting, then also you can use this camera. Really nice feature, guys. The EVF that we have on this camera is pretty nice. It's 2.4 million dots OLED EVF, and it works pretty fine if you are shooting in very bright situation like too much sunlight. Then you can see through this to get your framing correct, and also when you are using this you get extra stability and you can avoid the camera shake. One thing that this camera doesn't have is that it doesn't have in-body image stabilization, which some of the more expensive camera like Canon R5 or R6 have. So if you are using any kind of lenses on this, for example, I'm having this 50mm f1.8 STM lens, so this lens is not having the stabilization, so I have to shoot at a higher shutter speed. But if you were to use these lenses on R5, R3 or R6, so you get stabilization for all your lenses. Now I'm gonna put onto the screen some of the sample photos that I've taken with this camera, and most of the photos that I took with this camera have been using this 50mm f1.8 lens or the 40mm f2.8 STM lens. Many of them have been in low lighting situation, and even though the lighting was very poor, this camera handled that situation really well, and there is not that much noise or grains in the photos. Even if you are shooting at 3200 ISO or 6400 ISO, you can get really nice usable images with this camera. The only downside is that the camera is lacking a very high dynamic range, but despite that you can get very sharp photos, and even the videos are really very sharp, guys, and you can see for yourself how nice these photos look like. It is a very simple camera to use. If you are using some other lenses, if you have from your old DSLR camera EF lenses, you can use the adapter like the one I am using right now, and you would be able to use all your lenses and get similar great results. There won't be any degradation of image quality whatsoever, and you can get those lenses really very cheaply compared to the native RF mount lenses, guys. Now I'm gonna put onto the screen the video that I've taken with this camera, where we can see the quality of the video. And guys, in the video the autofocus works really very nice and snappy. The transition between objects is really very smooth, and there is not much focus hunting at all. Even in low lighting situation, the autofocus works perfectly fine. So here you can see the video footage. Hello guys, right now you are seeing the video directly from the Canon EOS RP camera, and I'm using the 50mm f1.8 STM EF lens with a Canon RF adapter, and the autofocus is really very snappy. So you can see right now I'm using the f1.8 aperture on this lens, and the background blur looks really amazing. These leaves are in focus, and you can see the background is very much out of the focus, and it is able to track these leaves even though it is very windy and they are moving around, but it is able to track it very smoothly. The autofocus is very awesome in the video, and it is very smooth actually, and this camera image quality is really great. So now I'm gonna try to focus back on this background, and you can see the image quality looks really good. And now I'm gonna focus on these leaves, and it was very quick to grab the focus, and very smoothly it did grab. Let me show you the area around so that you can see how it looks like, the video quality. So guys, the video was really good. I shot in full HD because in 4K you lose the dual pixel autofocus, and also you have to have a 1.7 times crop factor. So I prefer to use this camera in full HD because on my YouTube channel I'm mostly uploading the videos in full HD, not in 4K. So if you have to use this camera for full HD video, then it is fine. If you want something for 4K, then Canon R5 or R6 are great choice. And if you want to shoot with Nikon, then you can use Nikon Z6 or Z7 camera. Otherwise you can go for Sony equivalent cameras as well, guys. Now I'm gonna show you close-up view of the camera, how it looks like. So guys, from the back the camera looks something like this. So it has all these buttons that you can control and change the menus and different options. This is a touch screen, so that is really nice, and it can flip out and you can change the direction as well. It is very easy to use. And from the top it looks like this. So this is the mode dial, and the shutter button is over here. This is the shutter button that you can see, and then we have this dial for changing the shutter speed and aperture. Then we have an extra dial here as well. You can use this as well for changing different settings, guys. And the recording button for the video recording starting is over here, guys. On this side we have this on off switch, which should have been ideally near the shutter button. It would have been better, guys. If you look on this side, you have the different ports for connecting the mic. Let me show you. So here you can connect the mic, and the headphone port is there as well. Then we also have the port for HDMI, and you can connect the USB-C port as well. You can charge this camera via USB-C, or you can connect this camera with the laptop as well using a USB-C cable. And one bad thing that I didn't like about this camera is that you can see the battery compartment here, and the SD card goes in here. So when you have your camera mounted on a tripod, then it is slightly difficult to take out the SD card. It would have been better if the SD card slot was here like in most of the cameras, guys. Overall, guys, this is a great camera because in this price range there are not many camera that will give you these kind of features. This is a full frame mirrorless camera with a fully articulating screen. It can shoot 4K but with a crop factor and losing that dual pixel autofocus, but still it does have 4K. You can use it, it is usable. It's just that I prefer not to use it, but people can use it. And the image quality are really excellent. The photos are very sharp. Low light performance is great. So it is a great package. The kind of features you get in this camera, I mean, even a slightly more expensive camera is not having it. So this is a great camera if you are on budget. If you need a mirrorless camera on budget, if your budget is let's say less than $1,500 US, then you can get this camera along with a couple of lenses and you would be good to go. If you are looking for something more expensive with more features, then you will have to spend at least $3,000 US or more. But this would be a great camera which you can use for making really professional videos as well. It is awesome actually for making video. And you can do photography with this as well. If you have to take like family photos or your friend's photo, then also you can use this camera. I would not advise this for doing like wedding photography or professional event, because this camera doesn't have the dual card slot and you do need redundancy because you never know when your SD card might fail. So but for like casual photography, if you have to shoot within the studio, if you have to shoot for your friends or some small gatherings, if you need a lightweight camera that is full frame so that you get nice background blur both in videos, if you want to make videos for YouTube etc., then this is a great camera, guys. Definitely you can get this camera in 2022 and the image quality is still excellent and at par with some of the top of the end Canon cameras, guys. Alright guys, if you like my review, please subscribe to my channel and like the video, share the video, and don't forget to press the bell icon, guys. I will see you in the next video.